Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Flock's Nest Podcast. I, of course, am one of your hosts, Dallas, repping number 9 for the Baltimore Ravens.
I'm the other half, Brendan, repping 54, Bobby Wagner of the Seattle Seahawks.
We have hopefully a great show for you today. Some of us are dragging our feet a little bit this morning and still waking up, but we're going to try and bring a pretty good show. We're going to talk both the Ravens and the Seahawks games, plus our game of the week. We're going to talk a little breaking news-esque, and we're going to get into a quarterback conversation. That's going to be kind of how we end the day. Instead of the questions I usually ask, we're going to have a quarterback dialogue today. So, Brendan, do you want to kick us off with some breaking news?
Yeah, so obviously not a lot of great things happening on the natural disaster front. Hurricane Milton has displaced the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They are now playing in New Orleans. And isn't New Orleans dealing with Helene? I can't remember which
Yeah,
one.
so
Okay.
because the Bucks were dealing with Helene too.
Yeah.
So it had hit Florida, but they were able to play, they got that great win right after Helene hit. A lot of people were still able to make it to the stadium.
Okay.
A lot of relief effort, and now Milton hits. The concern, I guess, hurricanes are terrible. I'm not saying they're not. But when one hits right after the other, for resources to continue and rescue efforts, they're already spread thin. So with Milton expected to make landfall, it's a really shitty situation for just that whole region of the US right now.
Yeah, it's been a shit show over
we
there.
we might try and put a link, if you can donate to the Red Cross, or if you're driving through the area and you can drop off bottled water or something like that, everything helps. And this is coming from personal experience, but please be kind to utility workers and linemen and things like that, trying to get power back and all that stuff to those people. So hopefully the best situation, and then everybody in that area can stay as safe as possible.
Mm-hmm. And then on to more football news. Davante Adams has officially requested a trade from the Las Vegas Raiders. This really comes as no surprise to most people. If you watched the Receivers show, you
Yeah.
kind of saw this coming at some point.
Well, and then your head coach getting on Instagram and doing stupid shit does not help. Does not help. I'm not saying that it probably wasn't coming, but Antonio Pierce has got to do better than that. He's got to do better than that.
Yeah.
I don't have it as a note, but I do want to briefly talk about this.
Okay.
For the first time over the weekend, it's just preseason, I understand that, but LeBron James and Bronny took the court together. That was fantastic. That's one of those moments that transcends sports. It's not about winning and losing. It doesn't matter. It's preseason. Nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah.
But for this generational experience to be happening for the first time in basketball, it's fantastic.
Well,
if you're not excited, if you're not happy for them even a little bit, you're kind of a monster.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
It's the first time in basketball, and I'm trying to think. It's not the first time in sports ever.
No, I think baseball had a moment. Hockey.
Baseball has the Griffies.
Racing.
I know Ken Griffey, senior and junior, both shared the field. Hockey, I think Gordie Howe and his son played together at one point. So but it's probably single digits at this point.
Yeah. And it's just one of those moments. It just does. It goes above the sport. It goes above kind of all the crap and all the political stuff and all the it was just really great to see yeah, just this generational experience get to happen between a father and a son. And Bronny will probably get kicked down to the G League here soon. He may play one, he may be, wear a jersey for one home game for the Lakers just to do it in the regular season. But to see this moment, it was fantastic, and I was really excited about it.
Yeah, and I didn't watch any preseason basketball because
I
this.
watched like 20 minutes for this.
Yeah, I saw the little headline and I went, "Oh, missed that."
Yeah,
But
so
preseason basketballs, I just hate it.
no, it's boring as crap. That's why I watched 20 minutes and moved on day.
It's terrible.
Like, um, it's I preseason sports is not. I
Yeah,
feel like it's like this halfway, especially when we get so like jittery for sports. It's like halfway there, and I just feel unsatisfied.
yeah.
Um, so obviously we're still a few weeks out from the kick, like the first kickoff of tip off. I should say that tip off of NBA basketball, but
hmm
this was a momentous
And
moment.
then I think hockey starts in like a week.
Preseason started last week.
Yeah, and they don't have a
Uh,
long preseason,
no,
so I think they're
they should be kicking off. I think this week or next.
yeah. I think it's next week. Let me
I
check
thought I
it.
saw something like the
Oh
12th.
no, the
Oh,
so our team, the Colorado Avalanche, play Wednesday,
yeah.
as in
Well, then
tomorrow.
there you go. So we'll try to. Hockey's a hard one, guys. We're gonna do our best, but they play. It's like baseball and basket. They play so many games. They play. It's hard to.
Yeah,
It's hard to stay up on. Like I have a job. School. Like, that's hard to do. But we'll bring news as it comes. We will probably, with hockey, kind of stick to our team,
yeah,
unless something crazy happens. Um, I do know that there are some plans to make sure they honor the brothers this year.
yes, I do know that.
Um, so I think that'll be really. I do not want to use the word cool, because that's not
Heartbreaking,
appropriate. Heartbreaking,
because that's
and
how
also heartwarming in the sense of like,
wholesome.
yeah, wholesome. Thank you, God, because I was like, come up with a word that doesn't make you sound like a fucking monster because it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. Especially that woman found out she was pregnant. It's not even. It's just can't get any worse at this point.
For those wondering, because we haven't actually because we didn't cover this, I don't think.
I don't think we honestly. I think you and I both were like just kind of reeling from it. Like
Yeah.
I was afraid I was gonna cry if we brought it up.
So Matthew and Johnny Gaudreau both played in the NHL and were sadly killed in a car. Well, they were riding bikes and were hit by a car and were tragically killed that day. And this was not even a month ago, I don't think.
Maybe at most.
Yeah, at most a month ago. Terrible for the hockey community. Both of them ended up playing. Johnny played longer. I think Johnny was still playing. Matthew
Yeah.
was out of the league at this point. Um, but absolutely terrible. The hockey community for has still been trying to deal with it.
Yeah.
Um,
Still,
so that one definitely got to
especially,
us. And
we talk about sports being a brotherhood. Hockey is such a worldwide brotherhood. Like I understand like the media coverage for it isn't that great and like the US audience for it isn't that high. But the Russian league, all these other leagues are really connected to the NHL.
yeah,
And they're all so present in the Olympics every 4 years that this is a game that goes so far beyond the reaches of the US that this community is just it
Yeah.
is still reeling from it. And yeah, you and I were I mean, I'm still it's horrific and it's really unfortunate and I do know the league is kind of looking into some things and doing its best to make sure they honor the brothers properly
Yeah.
um this year and um so we'll kind of see what they're able to do with that and then yeah, we'll keep you guys kind of posted on any big news, breaking news, fun stats that come up as they happen, but hockey will be a big one come playoffs.
Yeah. All right. That does it for our breaking news. Well,
Woohoo!
breaking news portion.
Yeah, it's
Um,
news, it's stuff.
so we'll move on to like actual football. Do you want to talk Ravens?
Yes, I have very strategic notes this time. I don't know if you saw,
I
but
did.
they're
I see it.
way more. So hopefully, last week I got yelled at because I had to come back for something, and then I almost texted you. We hung up the call, and I went, "Damn, I forgot something." so, so it's okay. I'm gonna bring it back. Um, so I have really good notes today. There is a thing I want to get into, but I am gonna wait till we do our quarterback conversation.
Okay.
So to start, last week, Jalen Armour Davis was put on IR, and Arthur Millette was taken off IR. So we were really hoping he was going to be ready for this game. He did end up getting a soft tissue injury when he was attempting to return to practice from IR. So he is considered day to day at this point. He did not play this past week against the Bengals. Um, Voorhees was still out with an ankle sprain. They're hoping to have him back, maybe not this week, but next. 3 weeks with a low ankle sprain is.
We actually have breaking news.
Oh, holy crap! Breaking news while
Like
we're recording. Do
like
it!
Schefter just dropped. The Jets have fired Robert Saleh.
Oh my god!
Like
What the fuck?
check Twitter.
What the fuck? What the fuck? I don't even know how. That's the wrong Twitter account.
I just reposted it. Oh my god.
I can't. Okay, so pause all of this. We got to talk about that.
This is live
Look.
reaction to finding
Oh
out
my god.
that
That's crazy. That's not going to fix the problem. By the way, in case anybody's wondering, that's
um
not going to help. Oh my
um
god.
okay. Well, you know.
What the fuck? I can't even. Okay. So obviously this is my first reaction.
Yeah.
Thinking about it calmly. Here's the thing. I'm very confused by this decision. I feel like this had to come from Rodgers
I think it must.
because the defense is playing pretty well.
Yeah.
And that's his side of the ball. Who's not playing well is Aaron Rodgers. Who's not doing well is Nathaniel Hackett's side of the ball. What? You made a face.
They did this in London. They made this change while in London.
He's crazy. This owner he's so impulsive and so impatient. This is crazy. How the fuck that? Because you can't tell me he got fired and then wants to get on the plane with all those people.
I, maybe they waited. I was just saw like a. Okay, maybe it was just his press conference while in London, but they were like addresses the media I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe I got.
That's insane. That's
But yeah.
insane.
Oh my
I do
God.
not think
Schefter,
this
what
is
are you
gonna
doing to me? Why are
fix
you dropping bombs?
anything because
I don't, unless you hire an offensive head coach.
is
And
Rodgers gonna take that? Because he wouldn't let them get rid of Hackett.
I don't know.
I think this was
This
a
is a
bad
weird,
idea.
this is a
I
weird
think this
decision. This is, I don't,
it's so early. It's so early. I understand they're not playing well, but the defense is playing well. Rodgers is not.
I'm just
I
so confused.
Why
I'm,
wouldn't you just go get Devontae?
I
Why
don't,
would you?
I
I
don't,
don't
I don't,
understand,
I
right?
don't,
Like you're confused too.
yeah, I'm gonna be honest, like, while you were doing the Ravens, I was like, fuck it, I'll go on Twitter, see if anything's going
See
on,
what's up.
see if I missed anything from last night. And the first thing is from like 3 seconds ago, Schefter's like, the Jets have fired Robert Saleh, and I'm like,
That's insane.
I,
That's insane.
I
Do
don't
you
even,
really think this is gonna fix it? Do you think this is gonna get you? This had to come. There's no way. This is what I'll say. I'm not gonna say Rodgers pushed for this, but there's no way the GM did it without Rodgers' approval.
yeah, but I, I just,
These people are
I'm,
crazy. This is
I'm,
the most dysfunctional organization
oh yeah,
on the planet. And just so we're clear, we started the day talking about a head coach liking inappropriate Instagram posts about his wide receiver.
yeah,
And this is still the most dysfunctional organization.
because yeah, the ramifications, they're gonna pay him for another year because that's how much he has left.
Yeah.
This is this is wild. This is crazy.
And then who are you gonna
I don't know
as
if
an
they're gonna.
interim?
I don't know.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Don't even.
You know who's out there? You know who's out there sitting and waiting?
There's a couple, but I have
You
one in
think
mind.
he wouldn't take that shot?
Mm. Yeah.
Bill.
I no. I know who you're talking about.
And then you don't that's an interim you don't
I
have to
don't know.
replace.
I don't know if he would go back.
Come on.
He might. Maybe.
I think if the call's made. I think the Jets is a hard one because he's had such a rivalry with them for so long. But he really wants to get back into coaching. If they call, he'll go.
Maybe. Yeah. There's some other like I could think of a couple other guys, but like Bill is the main one out there. Belichick would be a weird. I don't
Because
know.
I don't think there's a real offensive guy on the market right now.
Yeah.
Because him, Vrabel, and Pete are all defensive guys.
Yeah. I'm very,
I'm
very.
floored. I'm floored. Okay, to give our viewers some context, right? I watched football for I Sunday. It was like 1,000 hours because the freaking Cowboys Patriots game got delayed. Watch Monday, and then I spend all night Monday night and Tuesday morning thinking about what I'm going to say, how I'm going to say things. So, yes, I understand that makes my screw ups even more impressive, but it happens. And I am floored by this.
Yeah.
I
I'm.
thought there was no way. We were talking last week about how Doug Peterson's probably the first.
Um. I Schrager just announced they have an interim. Jeff
Who?
Ulbrich.
Who?
Yeah, Jeff Ulbrich. I'm looking up who this dude is. This is live research here, people. Who the fuck? Oh, it's their defensive coordinator.
What?
It's the yeah.
So, okay,
Fuck.
just so we're clear, they fired their defensive head coach that actually calls the play. Oh, no, he doesn't.
I don't know if he
But
does.
he installs the schemes
So
so that Jeff Holbridge
I wonder.
can
Okay.
call plays and figure out how to be a head coach. That was our brilliant decision. That was
So
our brilliant.
the only explanation for this type of move is Sala as a motivator must have been. Well, clearly he looks like a terrible motivator. Like if you're just watching the sideline and watching that team, the energy level is
Here's my
not
thing.
there.
Here's my thing. Because I don't
Okay.
disagree with the point. Is that on Sala? Or is that on your 40-year-old superstar Hall of Fame quarterback who comes off the field looking like you just kicked his puppy?
So I think it's on both of them because I do think Sala has, like, as a head coach, you are looked at. Like at this point, I think it's Rodgers, Sala, but you're
Yeah,
still here. So if your quarterback is acting like you kicked his puppy, you've got to be.
but we saw it every time he tried. What fucking week was that? When they played the Patriots and they had the lead, Rodgers came off the field, Sala tried to hype him up, and Rodgers was like, "You need to chill, bro."
Okay, but that's Rodgers. I'm talking about the rest of the team as well.
But that's what I'm saying. Is like the team is matching. I don't know.
Then Sala lost the
I'm
locker
gonna be
room at this
perfectly
point,
honest with you. I think their season's
which is
over.
not great
I think it's over.
because I don't know if Rodgers
And
has got another one in him.
and we had kind of talked about Devontae. I was gonna bring him
Man,
back up later as Devontae. Like you wanted to go play with Aaron Rodgers again, which I thought was stupid. Or you were willing to go to the Saints, which I also thought was stupid. Now I'd be like, please God, no. Please God, no.
yeah, this seems like a terrible idea. This
Who do they play next? They play the Bills
Buffalo
next. Oh
on
my
Monday
God.
night,
Bro.
and the Bills are pissed because that's a game I want to talk about later. But
Oh, we're going to talk about it. Because that was my game.
oh yeah, it was okay, good. Um,
But, like, are you.
and I think part of the reason this team,
Wait till you're by.
I'm just that he
So
must
you
have lost
have a
that locker
week.
room.
I
This
don't know. Something had to happen. Because I know Garrett had come out and was ticked off about the offense
but that's
and
hacking.
how boring they are.
I want, and you can't really fire your offense. You can't fire your head coach and your offense coordinator
I feel they
together
should
in a
have
way.
fired Hackett in the offseason, and they didn't because of Rodgers. Because Rodgers got everything he wanted coming into the season, and then we're shocked it's a shit show.
Yeah, this is
Crazy. This is crazy. I don't even know how to move on from this.
I don't I don't.
This is insane.
I'm I'm dumbfounded.
Like, I feel like everything else we have to talk about is completely irrelevant. Like, it doesn't even matter.
Pretty much. Because yeah,
This is insane. This is nuts. I don't. I,
I'm so
I mean,
confused.
there were questions all year and all off season. Do they like each other? Do they get along? I think we just got our motherfucking answer.
Well, I think we already had our answer. I don't think they ever
Well,
did.
you know,
D-
they kept coming out and trying to tell us that they get along.
I just
So this is crazy. It's
I
crazy.
don't. Yep. Okay. Well,
Okay,
we
do we
will.
do we want to try and
Yeah. Let's.
get it back, and we're gonna come back to this multiple times because you have the Jets game.
Yeah.
They played the
That got
Bills. I
him
have the
fired.
Bills. I had a whole thing about quarterbacks that I was gonna get into.
I'm very glad I'm
So
coming back because I need to formulate thoughts here.
yeah, so let me talk Ravens, Bengals,
Yeah.
and you can try and think. This is so much because you're like still waking up. This is too much.
Yeah. This is fuck me.
This is crazy. Okay.
All right.
I don't even remember what.
On.
So Voorhees was out, Millette was out, Jalen Armour Davis was out. Go. I want to start with I'm sorry, I'm really struggling, you guys. So Ravens Bengals at Cincinnati. Ravens did get away with the win, 41-38 in overtime. Offensive offense. The offensive line felt like it took a little bit of a step back. Lamar definitely had pressure in his face, had some great plays, great escapes. His final touchdown pass to Isaiah Likely. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's fantastic. Um, but it was a great offensive game. Henry couldn't really get going on the run, but they didn't abandon the run. Lamar ran, Hill ran, and when push came to shove in overtime, they gave the ball to Henry again, and he was able to go for that 51 to 53 yard run to really ice it out, get them in field goal position. So we saw that they didn't abandon it, even though it wasn't working. From Henry's point, they kept going, kept pushing it. Henry did join an elite league. He is one of 32 players ever to hit 10,000 rushing yards. I think he's one of the 14 fastest. Only 14 have done it in 124 games, which is where Henry's mark came in at. So really incredible feat for him. Really great to see. Flowers had a really good game with 111 yards. I know for some of y'all, that's a pretty small number. For a Ravens wide receiver, it's actually pretty good. Um, Especially we saw Lamar spread the ball around so much. Bateman got catches. Um, Wallace got catches. So it was really great to see him have a good day. I feel like we're starting to finally see him kind of break away. Andrews, Mark, 89, finally came alive in the fourth quarter. He had that drop ball early in the second. They were able to get it back to him. He didn't have a touchdown, but we're seeing him and Lamar's connection coming back. We're seeing them get back to who they are and what they do. And as a Ravens fan, it was beautiful to see. Like I mentioned, Wallace got involved. Everybody, it was a full offensive performance. Charlie Kohler, the third tight end, actually had some really good moments in this game. He had that long pass and run to get them into scoring position. He had a really funny quote at the locker room afterwards. He said, the defense is so focused on Andrews and Likely that they forgot about the fat white guy running up the seam. Um, and then he had a touchdown catch. So it was just, I do not think I've ever seen a more complete offensive performance from the Ravens. But um, this was the game and the identity that Monken and Lamar have been looking for the past year and a half. I talk about the talk shows I watch. Some were kind of annoyed that they didn't use Henry as much, or felt like they didn't run quite as aggressively. They were throwing the ball so much. That is necessary, though. To be able to throw the ball when you're down, when you're behind, is important. And Lamar is an elite passer, just so we're clear. But they've always relied on the run. And when the run's not there, they kind of stall out. So to see them throw the ball, for Lamar to go throw for throw with Burrow, touchdown for touchdown with Burrow, offensively was great. We're finally seeing the complete identity of who the Ravens want to be. Um, and to the rest of the league, it's terrifying. You should be scared. Final regulation touchdown drive was fantastic. It was poetry in motion. For those that don't know, that's my fantasy league name. I was pretty proud of it. Um, One of the great things I saw, he had that pass to Isaiah Likely along the sideline. He had a similar throw to him during the Bills game, but Zay, being kind of inexperienced, was more focused on his feet and making sure his feet stayed inbounds and forgot to reach out to catch the ball. So this game, same pass, same throw. Zay went out, he made the catch, the feet stayed inbound. You really saw improvement from Zay. We're really seeing his growth and his maturity. Um, was fantastic. I'm telling you, that final touchdown pass is like play of the year. He's got a defender in his face. Nope. Snaps the ball. He fumbles it. He's on his knee, picks it up off the ground, has Hubbard coming in at his face, stiff arms him. And understand that Lamar is like 25 pounds lighter than he was last year. So he's pretty small.
And I felt like half the size as Hubbard. Hubbard's
Yeah.
a big dude.
So stiff arms him in the face, rolls to his right, stiff arms him again, gets Hubbard into the ground. Likely is in the end zone, waving his hand in the air, going, "I'm here." Lamar sees him, points to the left to tell to tell Likely to break to the left. Jumps, is getting pushed out of bounds, throws across his body into triple coverage.
Yeah,
And Isaiah Likely comes down with the touchdown pass. It is textbook, do not do this film.
pretty much.
But just so we're clear, that's what makes the elites
Elite.
elite. Patrick
So,
Mahomes' footage is filled with, don't fucking do that. So to watch him do this as he's gone blow for blow, throw for throw, touchdown for touchdown versus Burrow, I was ecstatic. It was the
so
best thing I've ever seen.
I do want, because
Do it.
I don't know if you know who Kevin Harlan is. Probably not.
No.
But he's more famous as a basketball announcer,
Okay.
and he does a lot of March Madness.
Okay.
He's the voice of March Madness essentially. Oh, he was calling it. He called the
Oh,
play, and he's got one of those, like, he's
yeah.
just so much fun. Um, and I ended up having that stream going just because you were talking about it,
Mhm.
because I could watch the Ravens, and he was doing it. I'm like, damn, bro, you should just call more football games, because
It
he's
just
going
was.
crazy.
Yeah. It was just, it was fantastic to see all of it. I was super excited. I think Lamar played an A+ game. It was great. Getting into overtime, I do want to give credit to Rosengarten. When Lamar had the fumble and the defense picked it up, Rosengarten made that tackle to make sure the runner didn't get it. Because if Rosengarten doesn't make that tackle, he's gone. Uh,
That was another thing.
so, um, we're just seeing Rosengarten as a player. Last week he had the recovery to have him get the tackle this week. There have been some offensive line struggles, um, but to see him executing and really getting after plays the way he has been impressive. So I want to give credit to him. Um,
I'm surprised you didn't tell me to fuck off after that one, but because you're talking about the fumble
oh
in
my god,
overtime,
oh my god,
because
this
we were
motherfucker. This
my
motherfucker.
take
I
guard for
about
this one.
drove 2.5 hours to beat his ass. He got lucky that McPherson missed the kick.
I told you it was gonna be fine.
So, oh my god, I was not happy with you.
It was her fault,
Fumble happened. I
bro.
freaked. I
I
was like,
was laughing so much. Because yeah, I was like,
oh,
it's gonna be fine. She responds with, "You don't know that." Then I was like, "Fine." Lamar's gonna throw a pick six, and like 2 plays later, Lamar fumbles the ball, and I was like,
I was like, I have to kick your ass now. This is your fault. He put it into the universe.
but I was like, it's her
Um,
fault. I was trying to be positive, and she didn't want
all right. Defensively, they put me through the ringer on defense. Here's the thing. I don't want to completely bash on it. They played really well for 1.5 quarters. Like it was the middle of the second quarter before the Bengals were able to get a touchdown. The sacks, the pass breakups, they were stopping the run. They were doing really well. And then halfway through the second quarter, they went, you know what? Fuck it. The deep ball, the slant pass to Jamar Chase was just eating them up. Jamar Chase single-handedly beat me in fantasy this week. He also about single-handedly beat the Ravens. Just eating it up. And then for all the faults they had, when it mattered the most, they stepped up. I said, the defense has just got to get one stop so that Lamar can get either tied or ahead. But he kept going down by 10, down by 3, down by 10, down by 3. They had to get another stop. And when Humphrey came up with that interception, it was great. It was fantastic. Seeing those plays when they mattered. The Ravens were able to go down, kick the field goal. The Bengals got the ball back with 1:45 to go. That's plenty of time to march down and get a field goal. Defense was able to get a stop, get some sacks, get the pass breakup to send it into overtime. When overtime came, while the Bengals were just trying to run it to stay in field goal range, they kept them from breaking out. They kept them from breaking away, getting a touchdown, getting any closer. They really stepped up when it mattered the most. Yes, there are things that defense needs to work on. It really is the deep pass game. They tackle really well. I think they have to be a bit more consistent with the blitz and the pass rush, especially against weaker lines. Van Noy had a harder time getting off this game, but Matabike got in there. Hamilton got in there. They've just got to keep that up. I do think they're going to get some of these things righted. I really do, especially when Millette comes back. Um, Humphrey is having a great season right now. I think they're going to get these things right. Zach Orr is very young. He's very inexperienced as a DC. Um, the offense is playing at a level that the defense can take some time to get the ship right. I believe they'll get there. Based off what I saw this game, they will get there because they had those moments. It's just about doing it for 4 quarters. And that takes time. I felt terrible for Hamilton when they went for the 2 in the second quarter. They got their first touchdown. That bro got the interception and ran. And defensive players are not known for their stamina. He got hit out of bounds and just laid there and basically was like, I'm gonna just lay here and die. You guys don't even worry about it.
And then what was worse
Took
is he had
him,
to go back out there.
yeah. And then what made it worse is a stupid penalty got called. So it didn't even count. And then they were like, so you still have to play. And he's just dying. He's just like, I can't fucking breathe. So I felt really bad for him. I am impressed with how he's playing. You know, I think his rookie year, he got a lot of flack. It wasn't what people thought it was going to be, but he's been a Pro Bowler since, an All Pro. He's been fantastic. I think he'll continue to play at that level. Zach Orr is using him appropriately. So that was really great to see, but I felt terrible. I did think we saw kind of one of the best games out of Nate Wiggins. This game, you know, he was on Jamar. The hard guy to keep up with. He had some good pass breakups. He definitely got a PI ignored. So thank you. I think the refs watched our podcast and they heard me bitching about the inconsistencies.
Well, that's good.
But yeah, he definitely got away with one there. So yeah, for all the problems, I think they'll get there, and they did play when it mattered the most. Special teams. Gotta talk special teams. Tucker! Finally! In the wind, no less. Like, it's whipping around. You can see the flags on the goalposts. Just nails a 56-yarder. To get them to go into overtime was fantastic. I think, hopefully, this kind of clears up any of the mental part of the errors that he was having. You know, he went into a very long technical rant about it after the game. And I didn't follow, I would say, 85% of it. But that's who Tucker is. He is a very technical kicker. But I think just having this one, any mental problems he might have been having, I'm hoping we've corrected. Looked good, looked great. I have a better punter and holder, so that was nice. Um, but it was a great game. Like I said, this is who the Ravens want to be. It not only showed the world who Lamar is, but also who the Ravens want to be. For weeks, I've heard what's their identity. Can they win when they have to throw the ball? Can he go throw for throw? Can he compete with the Burrows and the Allens and the Mahomes? Goddamn right he can. Goddamn right he can. And he did. And it was great. The post game interviews were pretty funny. Derek he interrupted Lamar's on the field post game interview. I felt really bad for the reporter, but to be fair, she rolled with it phenomenally. Very professional because Lamar's talking to her. And then Henry comes over, starts hyping him up. So then she kind of asks Henry a question, and Lamar just walked off. Lamar was like, okay, you're talking to him. Like, you can see him in the background. He's not far. But now she's, instead of interviewing Lamar, she's interviewing Henry. And she's like, okay, I guess this works. His post-game interview, he called him a GOAT, not the GOAT. For clarification, anyone getting uppity. He also said it's the beginning of Lamar's third MVP performance. We may talk about that a little more when we get into the quarterback conversation. I will briefly say this. He has to play damn near perfect this year to even be in the conversation. Not because he doesn't play at that level, but there is voter fatigue with Lamar. He needs a good playoff performance for the voters to be willing to give him another MVP. um, especially back to back. That's pretty rare. That's really hard to do, and I don't think anybody's ever won 3 without having gone to the Super Bowl before that. So that's just kind of where it's at. But yeah, we'll talk about that maybe a little bit later. We have a whole thing quarterback wise that we really are going to get into. I promise. Offensive player of the game. Brennan's like, I'm confused. I know. We're gonna get there though. Offensive player of the game. Lamar Action Jackson. Hell yeah. 360 plus yards, 119 passer rating. Maybe it was 132. I don't remember the exact number. He cracked 300. That's what matters. 119 passer rating, 54 yards on the ground, 4 passing touchdowns. That's the guy. Defensive player of the game, Humphrey. That interception at the end, that iced it. That helped the Ravens just get into the position they needed to be. It was the play they'd been looking for the entire fourth quarter. Was just another stop to get the Ravens at least tied. And Humphrey came up with it in the biggest moment. So shout out to him, playing great. Injury news, everyone came away with it okay. For those that saw, yes, Humphrey did leave the game in a walking boot. It's preventative. He's okay. Um, when you play tough physical games like that, sometimes you're a little banged up. Humphrey does have a history of injuries. So they just strapped him in to just make sure he's stable, make sure he's good, make sure he stays healthy. But yeah, he's okay. He'll be at practice this week. May take a veteran day off, but nothing to be concerned about there. Um, so I do think that does it for the Ravens, which I tweeted y'all about actually. I was gonna tweet about the next game we're gonna talk about, and then I couldn't think of a way to say it, so I let it go. But Brennan, would you? I don't want to use the word like, but will you please talk to us about the Seahawks game?
I
He's like, let's just go back to Sala.
yeah. Let's talk. Let's keep talking about other because this was this. I was gonna tweet. I was gonna tweet after the game because we had you had. So I was like, all right, I guess I'll
Yeah.
tweet. And then I reached the point where I was like, I've stopped caring, so there's no point.
So full disclosure, I fell asleep during the second block. I'd been up since midnight because I had to go way further out in the route.
Oh
Fell
yeah.
asleep. Woke up. Red zone was ending. It was like doing the every touchdown. So I looked up the score and was like, he didn't text me. I'm gonna see how he's doing.
So I had stopped watching it for a while. I had better shit to do with my life. For anyone wondering, I do have a sports podcast, but I will not sit through something that is just a waste of my time.
It's fair.
That'll just piss me off because that's what was
Yeah.
happening. So I was like, all right, I'll come back. I'll watch the condensed
The
version
condensed replay takes
or the
half an hour.
replay. I can get everything I need.
Yeah.
I'll know the score at this point, so I'll still be annoyed, but I'll be less annoyed.
You won't be watching it happen.
Yeah.
Watching chaos unfold.
So this seems to be an issue with this team. I have no idea where to start because it was a shit show. It was just a shit show from start to finish. I guess I'll start on defense because I have a lot more yelling to do on offense, I feel like. So defensively, that was beat up. Okay, the defensive line that was beat up during last week against the Lions mostly came back. So I guess we'll start there. The did not play for. There's 2 players out for this game: Boye Mafi, the edge rusher, and then Byron Murphy, the interior defensive linemen. So only 2 this week were missing. Only 2. So we got injury better. Well, it didn't get better. It got worse after this game. But beforehand, it got better. Because they're the only 2 people inactive before the game. Baker, Williams, and Wosu. And I'm forgetting the last one. Julian Love, all came back.
I'm like, I couldn't help you.
Yeah, and they played for this game. I'll get more to the injury stuff later, because there are some new ones. But for the most part, almost at full strength. Defensive line looked okay, not great, not bad, just very meh, which I was not overly happy about. The secondary had breakdowns again this week. A lot of that came from Trey Brown, the third corner on the roster for the Seahawks. Did not look good. He tends to be really consistently just there. You don't notice him a whole ton, which for a corner is pretty good. You tend to notice a corner if they do something really bad or really good. So for him to really not doing either of that, I can live with. Like, you
Yeah.
being just there, I'm like, okay, you're not letting up a touchdown, and you're not necessarily picking the ball off, but, I'd rather
Yeah.
you not do one of those and just, exist. This week was not the case. He let like 2 touchdowns. They were picking him apart. He was making Daniel Jones look like a fucking good quarterback. The whole defense was making Daniel Jones look like prime Cam Newton, and it was pissing me the fuck off. Because, man, they could not tackle him for shit. Tackling was a huge issue in this game. The Giants were breaking tackles left, right. Daniel Jones seriously looked like prime Cam Newton at one point. Just stiff arming people, making 2 people miss. It just terrible defensive performance, I feel like, in a way. Not as bad as last week, but they also played a better offense last week. This is not a good Jets offense. Without Malik Neighbors, without
You
Devin
mean
Singletary.
Giants?
Yeah, I don't know what I said.
Some fucking team.
Yeah,
They're not good.
this Giants offense isn't good. And they were without Malik Neighbors, their best player. They were without Devin Singletary. Just not a good defensive performance. I'm very curious to see what happens next, because McDonald came in to fix the defense, and I'm not saying he hasn't. Okay, let's chill. I have been seeing people on Twitter going, McDonald sucks, fire him, all the shit. Seahawks fans are like, Pete Carroll will be 5-0. Let's
He probably would be.
pump the brakes. Let's chill out. I don't think he would. Okay, we might be 4-1 because we probably would have beat the Lions because for the reason the past 6 years Pete Carroll couldn't lose to the Lions. But
Yeah.
who's to say? Because if you go back to the Ravens, when Mike McDonald was hired to be their defensive coordinator, the Ravens' defense was not good for half a year when he was first hired. That defense was bottom half of the league. I think even bottom 10 in the league.
Yeah.
When he was hired. And for those, it took, I think, till week 7 is when you guys traded for Roquan. Mm-hmm. At that point, you started to see the improvement, and then obviously last year, best defense of the league. This will take time. It's a new scheme. Yeah. It's a very difficult scheme. There's a lot going on. It will take time.
He's a good coach, but it's the same I'm going through with Zach Orr right now. New defensive schemes, they take time. It's the same with the offense.
Communication. It's the
it's a whole lot of things going on. I'm not saying it wasn't bad, and I'm not saying
it's embarrassing,
there aren't things to be concerned about, but you got to give it a little time.
And I think we'll get there.
No rational people are firing head coaches after 5 weeks.
To be fair, he's had more than 5 weeks.
Not with Aaron Rodgers. The savior.
Yeah, I'm not saying that's not, but yeah. Back to the Seahawks. Yeah, so chill out. It's fine. Like, we're still winning the division. The Seahawks are still 3-2 winning the division. Let's calm down. I'm not kidding. They are. So I'm not worried yet. This probably, obviously, I'm not thrilled with the defensive issues, but I think they'll figure it out. We've got some things. I'm not thrilled with how quickly we have to play somebody, but we'll get to that in a little bit. And then offensively, I have so many fucking problems right now. And my notes verbatim say, what the fuck, when talking about our offensive coordinator. Okay? I understood last week. You went down early. The Lions do not have a good secondary. Throw the ball. All right. Okay. That game plan made sense to me. I was like, all right, terrible secondary, causing a lot of PIs. And you were down. Let's throw the ball a lot. Try to get back in the game. But even last week, you were throwing the ball a lot. Kenneth Walker had 3 touchdowns. That doesn't happen without running the football.
Yeah.
Okay. This week, in a game, they ran the ball 7 times with a design run. Design. They ran it 10 times total because Geno Smith ran for 3. You have Kenneth Walker, one of the most explosive, fastest. I'd honestly put him in the top 10 in running backs this year.
Mm-hmm.
In your backfield. What the flying fuck are we doing? We threw the ball 51 times. I'm sorry. I love Geno Smith. I do. I think he's a good quarterback. He is not known for being able to throw the ball 51 times. That's not. It's not.
No quarterback can sustainably throw the ball. Actually, I do want to clarify. Your notes say he completed 51, but he took 58 attempts.
No, that was 51 of 58. So it was 51 of 58 plays or passes.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, the 7 design runs, only 5 of which went to Walker.
So 51. Tom Brady didn't throw the ball that damn much.
Geno Smith was our leading rusher.
Doesn't throw the ball that damn much.
No.
That is not sustainable for any quarterback. You have to have a semblance of a run game.
Which made no sense because we've proven that we can. That's the issue. We didn't even try this game. If you run it 7 times, you're not even trying.
Yeah.
Running it, not being able to run the ball after I would say 15, then I'm like, okay, you can't run. You've tried it 7 times with 2 good running backs. What are we doing? What are we doing? So I was not happy.
That's crazy.
Because you saw it on a couple plays. There was a 4th and 1 that they ran play action after not being able to run the ball. And the defensive lineman for, I think it was Brian Burns. Yeah, it was Brian Burns. Essentially, after the game they were like, so on that play, what did you see? And he was like, they ran play action and they hadn't given it to the running back and it was 4th down. They weren't handing the ball off. So he just had the approach of hit Geno. No one blocked him. He hit Geno. Lost the ball. It was a 4th and 1. It was. I have faith in our coordinator, but this was our worst offensive performance, followed by our best offensive performance, which just pisses me off to no end. And really, the issue I'm having with this is you looked like a college coach. That's what this felt like. It looked like you sat there and went, this worked in college, so let's try to get because that's what they did in Washington. He had a really pass-dominant offense. were some games they wouldn't run the ball. Like they'd run it 10, 15 times. That doesn't work in the NFL. You have to establish a run game in the NFL. Like, you just have to. You have to keep the defense honest. And they didn't. So I had a real problem with that this week. I'm hoping I'm hoping this is his welcome to the NFL moment in a way. Of,
like, this does not work.
oh shit, okay, passing the ball 51 times, only doing 7 runs doesn't work. Because it was, what the fuck are we doing? What are we doing?
Yeah.
I have no offensive or defensive player of the game. That's how I felt about it because, Gino I thought played all right. But he did have one moment that I thought was less than desirable. Um, you know, Leading rusher in the game, but it's third and like 12 or third and 10. It was a third and long. No, second and long. No, third and long. Third and long. I was right the first time. It was third and long. He ends up being able to scramble, gets 1 yard short, and decides to slide when he could have easily just leaned a
Yeah.
little forward, got the first down. Would have saved us a lot of issues. I understand business decision. I don't want you taking hits either, but that's a hit I could probably live with.
Yeah.
When you're trying to get the first down and you kind of need the first down because you're losing. I
Get the
understand
first down.
getting the first down, but a business decision was made. Wasn't thrilled with it. Lockett, I thought played okay. Metcalf, another week of having to talk about a Metcalf fumble that pretty much decided the game. Which he has a problem, I figured out, by the way.
Okay.
I didn't know this. Since coming into the league, he's fumbled the most of any wide receiver.
Oh, damn.
He has 9.
I did not know that.
I didn't either. And
That's crazy.
honestly, until I saw that, I was like, he doesn't fumble a whole ton. What's going on this year? And then found that out and went, apparently
He actually does.
okay, I guess. Like, I don't know how to fix that issue because the issue is him trying to do too much, and I kind of like him trying to
Yeah,
do.
like, that is who he is. Like, that's what makes him
Is you're
who he
trying to
is.
fight for every yard, and when you have Tyler Lockett who refuses to run, he had one this week that I was like, you actually tried. He
You
caught
didn't
the
just
ball.
step out of
He
bounds.
caught the ball and ran, and I was like, what is happening? And then he had another one. Could have had a touchdown. Could have had a touchdown. Had to wait 1 man miss, and caught the ball and just sat down. And the announcers, I appreciated it kind of because the announcers were trying to defend him because this is right before the half. There's not a ton of time left. He catches it inbounds, gets down. They could kick a field goal. But if you watch the all 22 tape from back, he hasn't made one defender miss, and he could have a touchdown. But I will say, if he gets tackled, the Seahawks don't kick a field goal.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I trust you to make the man miss, but also I understand. Like,
Yeah.
it's you being you, but whatever. And then defensively, no one played well. When you let the Giants put 29, well, it wasn't quite that bad because there's a play I'm going to get to in a little bit because
Yeah.
I have a lot of
I
questions.
saw your notes at the
I
bottom.
have a lot of questions. We'll get to it because I want to talk injuries and then I'll end with the thing. So coming into the game, obviously no Murphy, no Mafe. We're gonna have a discussion on Chenna and Wosu here for a second. Great pass rusher, love the guy. Probably the best pass rusher on the Seahawks. The man cannot stay healthy. This is his first game back this season after an MCL sprain. That was not his fault. He got illegally chop blocked. Looked like shit. He's already hurt again and won't play this Thursday. He's already hurt with a thigh injury. Left the game with a thigh injury. Like we need more injuries on Seahawks. But we'll move. because he got injured in the game, will not play Thursday. So we're gonna have to have a conversation on if this continues to be an issue,
Yeah.
because last year came back after tearing his pec. It was in his shoulder, maybe shoulder, tearing something in this area. Came back, played like 4 games, and then got hurt again, and then came back this year and played in like half a game before getting hurt. That's not great. That's an issue.
No.
We're talking Jamal Adams level issue
Yeah.
for Seahawks fans out there. So we will kind of see how that goes this year. It kind of seems like this is going to be another longer term injury based on what McDonald has said, but we'll see. And then 2 other ones. Tariq Woolen, our best corner, went out of the game with an ankle injury. I don't know how bad this one is. I don't know if it's like a low ankle sprain, high ankle sprain, not even an ankle sprain. We will have to wait and see. McDonald has not really talked. McDonald refuses to do fucking injuries. It pissed me off. And then Derek Hall also ended up leaving the game. I do not remember with what his injury was. I think he was a knee or ankle. Not great when the rest of the defensive line's also hurt. When you have all 3 of your edge rushers hurt, does not spell success. Especially when you're about to go against a team that's actually pretty good. So, they should be.
They should be.
So, injury news, not great. Not great.
Not great.
Okay, to the play. For anyone wondering, the Seahawks had a chance to tie the game late. Ended up getting hope because they got the touchdown. JSN wide open in the back of the end zone, which he then screwed up by dropping a ball to get first down on this drive. So I can't even give him I was like, okay, I'll give it to him because he had the touchdown. No, he fucked up because he had the first down and dropped the ball. Just dropped it. Just said fuck it. So not great. Final drive. Seahawks finally get a stop on defense. Get the ball back. Driving down the field. End up having to settling for a field goal. Okay, that's fine. Tie the game. Go to overtime. I can live with that. I think we're the better team. I think we can pull it off in overtime. The kick is blocked, okay? And I have a lot of questions, all right? And there's 3 things on the play that I'm questioning. And I'm not saying that the play was illegal. I just have questions on how it's not illegal.
Okay.
So, first of all, because the main thing of the play is a defensive player jumped over the line of scrimmage. Okay, it's happened before. It's been done.
Yeah.
In 2017, the NFL had outlawed that kind of play in direct response, essentially, to the Seahawks being really good at it. And I had 2017, the NFL banned you from jumping over the offensive line. Now, I read further, I did research. They only banned you if you had a running start, leapt off of 1 foot, or used an offensive lineman as leverage, as like push down all the offensive linemen to get in the air. Technically, the Giants player did none of those things. He was within 1 yard of the line of scrimmage, so he could jump over the line of scrimmage and it be legal. Okay, that's fine. The question I have is, if you're trying to outlaw that play, why not just outlaw it? Why make it to where you have like 5 circumstances that you have to cover, and then if those 5 things are met, you can jump over the offensive line? Okay, yeah. That's one question, because you're doing this out of player safety. So I'm like, okay, allowed, but kind of weird that you have all these like fine print, can't do this, can't do this, can't do this. Okay, that's fine, whatever. The second one, I think, matters less because I was just confused on the situation. Lincoln Tomlinson. So, okay, let me do this. How the dude was able to jump off through the offensive line is what bothered me about the play. Like, actually bothered me. Because there's another rule in the NFL that is you cannot initiate contact with a defenseless player. The long snapper, when his head is between his legs, snapping the ball back, falls under that rule. He's a defenseless player. You are not allowed to make contact with him. Okay? And this is where things get interesting. The defensive tackle for the Giants put his hand on the back of the long snapper with his head down. Pushed him like towards the ground. Make sure he couldn't sit up to be able to potentially block the dude jumping. And now during the game, Gene Steratore, very prolific rules analyst, talked about the play, said everything was legal, everything was okay. And I was like, all right, if you say that, I tend to believe what he says. He's very respected, has done this for a very long time. I can live with that. And verbatim, what an NFL person has said is pushing down alone is not a foul. There has to be forcible contact to the head or neck area. Okay, I see. Okay, that makes sense. Why? Why is the rule stated to where you cannot have contact to a defenseless receiver, and then in fine print you go to head or neck area?
Yeah.
Like, also, if I'm defenseless with my head on, like, towards the ground, and someone puts their hand and shoves my back down, that could still injure me. You can fuck my back, my neck. You can still injure my head at that point. That's still not a safe play. And also, technically, I feel like that should fall under defensive holding. Because you are not allowing a player to move to their proper job.
Yeah.
Okay? So that was the second thing. And then the third thing I think matters less. But I think it was another defensive holding. Because I'm pretty sure Dexter Lawrence grabbed the hold of the dude to the right. Or, well, to the left if you're looking at it from the goalpost, to the right if you're the kicker. To the right of the long snapper. And essentially dragged him to the ground. So that, once again, he couldn't block the dude jumping. So my question to the NFL is, how, on one play, could I have three things that all look like penalties that all have reasons they're not? Okay? But they're all reasons in little fine print that are like, well, you can do this if. You can do this if. It makes no sense to me, fundamentally, on why certain things are allowed.
The thing that I guess baffles me is I'm expected to believe that staring at DK Metcalf last week, we didn't see him get dragged to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
But on 3 occasions, there were potential penalties that nobody threw a flag. And then maybe someone comes back and goes, actually, he didn't push down. Actually, he didn't get a run. You know what I mean? Like, then there was clarification. But, like, nobody threw a flag. It was just like, I didn't see Gino, or I didn't see DK. And all of the line judges, who, by the way, the only thing they're looking at is that line. They're not watching. There aren't safeties in the backfield.
Yeah.
Like, every ref is staring at one line. Not one of them goes, pretty pretty sketch to throw a flag and then have a conversation about it. We let all three things be like, "Oh yeah, that's legal."
That was
That's what's crazy to me because you have the note here. It's not reviewable, even though it's a scoring play. Because you and I talked about this. I
yeah,
think it was 2 years ago. We were fundamentally confused about the guy that got kicked in the chest.
yeah. It's
If you throw the flag, though, they can go back and look at the penalty to make sure.
it.
But then someone had to throw the flag. So the fact that nobody threw a flag on all of these things with
Yeah,
the fine print, that's what's crazy to me.
and then
That's what's crazy.
just to add to the whole fine print conversation, to bring another game into it, not just the Seahawks. Another one that makes no sense to me fundamentally whatsoever as a rule is when you're
Okay.
catching a touchdown. This happened in the
Oh
Patriots
my god.
game. Okay,
Oh my god.
so
'Cause I
you're
agree.
allowed because you're allowed to toe tap if you're going towards the sideline. You're allowed to just
Mhm.
drag your toes. If you're going backwards, like you're falling backwards, you have to get your whole foot in bounds and not just a toe. Why? Why?
Because
What's the
that,
difference? What's the fundamental difference is the way you're facing, but what's the actual difference?
well, because, like, that's the thing. Because it came up on one of my talk shows. Because they were like, if he were going the other way, which, by the way, um, Ravens Chiefs, if he dragged the toe forward, you're out of bounds. Like, if your foot was flat, the half of your foot is out, no matter which way you're facing. So it is crazy to me that, like, if you're doing this and then, like you're going out anyway. So the fact that the
That's
back of the foot came down to me goes, okay, I did the toe drag, then I came out.
yeah.
And they're
It
like, well,
makes
the toe just has to, like, that's insane.
yeah.
That's insane.
That one I have more problems with than the Seahawks one in a way. Because the Seahawks one, I'm like, all right, fine, fuck it. You have this rule. They're stupid, in my opinion. I
It
think,
doesn't make any. The thing that honestly baffles me about it is that nobody threw a flag. Nobody had
and
questions.
that's like because again, I'm not
Like,
even like the play
if you
should have
turned
stood.
a,
I agree with that in a way. I'm like the Seahawks had
like,
other
if
issues.
that's the rule, the rules were met. Fine.
I just have questions on why the rules are the way they are. Of
Yeah,
like, okay, you ban people from jumping over the offensive line,
then that
and
should
that's
just be
how
a
you stated it. But then you went in and went like, well, if you meet all
technically.
of this criteria, it's fine.
Yeah,
You can't contact a defenseless player. Oh, but you only in certain areas, and pushing down on the player doesn't really count. We have a defensive holding rule, but if you're dragging the player out of the way, doesn't really count. I'm like,
yeah. It's the fine print to some of these that I'm confused because it's the same with the toe drag. You got both feet down, and to me, you had both feet down and then went out of bounds like you would have anyway.
yeah, there's
What's
just
the goddamn difference?
that's my issue with it. But you know, back-to-back
I'm
weeks
just
of
confused. I'm just,
yeah,
and I feel like, so we talked about this last week. The horse collar
yeah.
is a rule. You can't horse collar
But you can do it to a quarterback in
except in the tackle box. Why? What?
yeah,
Because then I watched it this weekend. Someone went, and I went, that's crazy that that's legal. The
so
whole point is safety to the head and neck.
yeah, I don't
Just because you're in the tackle box and he doesn't have forward momentum does not change the fact that you're basically trying to choke a guy out.
yeah, there are some weird rules with fine print that I'm just not understanding.
I'm confused. I'm confused.
But 2 weeks in a row talking about refs inconsistency. I think we should move on from that because man,
That's
you could
fair.
talk all day about it.
Oh yeah. It's just
Um,
weird how like some of these things, like you and I have been, like you are 20 years old. You're getting ready to turn 21 in like 6 months. You've been watching football for like 21 years. And some of these rules were like, what the fuck are you talking about?
yeah,
When was that? You know what I mean? Like, I am 30 for God's sakes. I have been watching football longer than you've been alive. And I had to look up a horse collar rule. Where's this coming from?
and that's the thing. Like, that's the issue. And what's worse, okay, is when I was looking it up. I was also on Twitter, which was a bad idea, but I
Yeah.
needed to see some stuff. No analyst for the Seahawks knew what was happening either. And these are people that actively work
Yeah.
with / for the NFL, and they didn't even know what the rule was. That's the issue. Like the NFL has this issue of like the rules just seem so like convoluted. It's just I'm just having an issue with why they are what they are.
Yeah.
That's
No, and that's fair. That is fair.
all right. Well, enough talking about the refs. Do you
All
want to
right.
do your game of the week?
Bills Houston. Oh my god. Nine for 30. Josh Allen went 9 for 30. That is the worst quarterback passer rating in 30 years, with a minimum passing attempt being 30. So that's basically how that game went.
Yeah.
I do think it should be technically he should have gone 9 for 27. The final drive of the game,
Oh no.
they're backed up into their own end zone. They just want to march it down to get a field goal. Understand, Allen was out cold on the field like 5 minutes before this. Probably shouldn't have even been out there. I'm not sure where concussion protocol went for this game. Because that mofo was unconscious and then tried to get up and tell me and tell the world it was a chest issue. Nah, bitch, it wasn't. You were out cold. Then came back into the game without going to the tent, by the way.
I think he did go to the tent.
No, he didn't. He was on his way, realized he had to go back in, grabbed his helmet, and went back in. They gave that motherfucker smelling salt, and he went back in.
Because I thought the defense went out first, and then he went
in. Nope.
Or there was a
He was
commercial.
out like 2 plays.
Because I was like, there was a commercial timeout in between.
Yeah, he was not
so I
out
think they
long.
did it for that. Because you can do it in a blue tent while they're in commercial timeout.
I'm telling you, he did not go to that blue tent.
I think he did. I think it went to commercial and then it cut back.
I'm telling you, he did.
I think he did.
So, anyway, then went out there and threw 3 passes back to back to back. He's clearly not okay. First of all. Second of all, you haven't thrown the ball well all fucking game.
So
you do have a decent running back.
Also,
what are you doing?
You're tied with like a minute left.
Yeah,
run the ball.
Run down the clock.
At least make them burn their timeout. Like shit.
Like, dude,
make them try.
Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. I would have been less shocked if I'd seen that McDermott had been fired today.
After that decision, yeah. Fuck
like,
me.
It was like, what the fuck?
I think my favorite thing was Scott Hansen's reaction.
Oh,
he's watching it happen, and he's like, what are they doing?
What are they doing? Somebody do something else. Josh Allen, to his credit, can run the ball. Now, I don't think that's a good idea. Again, unconscious a minute ago.
Yeah.
But somebody do something. It was a boring game. It was a game of weird ass decisions from both teams, by the way. The Houston Texans were not perfect in this situation either. They had several moments. I was like, I don't know what the fuck we're doing. I don't know why. It's weird. Them I give a little more credit to. They're young. D'Amico Ryan is young. Second year as a head coach. And okay. Nope, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait on that too. Stroud looked good for a second year quarterback in the league. I think the hype around Stroud is more accurate now.
Probably.
Like, I
Yeah.
think last year, it's kind of what we're seeing with Jaden Daniels this year. I'm not saying it hasn't been great. I'm not saying it wasn't impressive. But they're young. It's okay for them to take time. It's going to take time. Um, and I think last year nobody expected anything from the Bills. It's so much easier when you're ignored and when nobody really expects anything from you to be phenomenal. I'm not trying to discredit what they did. I'm not trying to discredit Jaden Daniels, but it is easier.
Mm-hmm.
This year, they're part of the hunted. Because they made the playoffs, they are part of the hunted. So now you are getting teams' best. And you're seeing that, he's throwing more incompletions, more interceptions. You're seeing some kind of odd coaching decisions because now we're in a position of having to make them. Um, this is part of it. This is part of growing. It's a big reason why they talk about the sophomore slump with rookie quarterbacks because it's easy to go from the ignored. It's hard to go from the ignored to the hunted.
Mm-hmm.
But he did play well. My fantasy leagues was ticked after Nico went down. I was like, I give up on wide receivers. I'm just gonna stack my roster with running backs. That's the new plan.
Doesn't really work, but sure.
Well, my wide receivers aren't working either, Brendan. So yeah, I have another thought, but I'm gonna wait.
Okay.
I have a whole thing, and if I start, you ain't ever gonna get to Jets Vikings.
And we got limited time.
Yeah.
I got shit to do. All right. As she said, I'll move on to Minnesota and the Vikings, or Minnesota and the Vikings, Minnesota and the New York Jets. Which
Like Minnesota is the
this
Vikings.
this game got a lot more interesting.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So the Vikings win 23-17. Um, this was the London game, so this happened at 6:30 in the morning for us. So not thrilled about that. I missed probably the first 10 minutes of the game because for whatever reason my TV fucking hates the NFL app. Don't know why. Have to uninstall it every time I want to watch a game.
Are you serious?
Yep.
That's
The
crazy.
audio will not work if I don't uninstall it.
Huh.
It's retarded. But beyond that, yeah, Vikings win 23-17. I'm gonna quickly talk about the Vikings and then we'll get to the Jets because there's a lot more to talk about now. Um, yeah, Vikings win. Darnold looked fine. Um, I think we're finally starting to see not necessarily the old Darnold, but I think not the honeymoon phase, but like we're definitely starting to see the Darnold we'd more expect. He's still performing much higher than expectations, but
Yeah.
we are starting to get. It's not the holy shit, this dude's MVP this year. Oh my god, like no, we're starting to get back to reality, but he's still exceeding expectations. He's still playing really good, but
Yeah.
compared to his first 3 games, these last 2 have been kind of hit or miss. Um, and then the Vikings defense continues to be just incredibly good, forcing interceptions, playing good, strong defense. Like they just look
Van
good
Ginkel
right now.
is going off.
Yeah, like I think that's one of the most underrated signings of the year. Because I think he's a really underrated player.
But the Dolphins are regretting that one.
Yeah. But yeah, so I did. Darnold looked good. That offense looked fine. Jefferson was having a rough time, but I don't really think that was his fault in a way. Um, and then yeah, Vikings defense continues to look great. Not gonna spend a ton of time on the Vikings because they are 5-0 going into their bye week, and the other side of this has a
Got
lot more.
way more interesting. Way
So
more interesting.
I'll hold off on that situation. I'll talk about what I wrote down first. During the game, I was I was watching it. Rodgers looks old, and that should not be a surprise to anyone. 40-year-old quarterback. We saw it with every quarterback in the league. They get old. It happens. We hadn't seen it with him yet. This is now. I'm like, holy shit, you're old. I don't think you got much long, and I don't really think you still got it.
Yeah.
That last play where he threw the interception, that was terrible. What are you doing? You have one of the best jump ball wide receivers in the league in Mike Evans, and you throw it to the ground. And Gilmore played it really well. I'll give him that. But like Rodgers could have thrown a significantly better ball. He could have done a lot more to help his receiver out.
Yeah.
And that play really stood out to me because it was almost like he didn't have the arm strength in a way to get it up. It was very
Yeah.
like it just
I felt like this was genuinely the first game I seriously saw his age.
yeah.
I was like, it's all sluggish and slow and heavy.
Yeah, it was.
You could see it. You could see it.
That's the weird thing. So, obviously,
Firing Solo is not going to make him 10 years younger, by the way.
no, no, it will not. So, and that offense, just Brees Hall couldn't get anything going. Wilson, Lazard ended up having a touchdown, but they really can't get much going. And then Williams is a good jump ball receiver, but other than that, is kind of
Yeah.
meh. So the offense just couldn't really get anything going. Um, and part of that, well, like Rodgers just looked old, and you could tell. You could tell. He took a hit, crawled on the side, like ended up crawling on the sideline at one point. I wasn't really sure what happened there. It looked like he took a hit and then ended up just like crawling onto the sideline. It just
So,
was so weird. Um,
based off, because last week he kind of tweaked his knee.
oh, okay.
And so when he got hit on that one, he re-aggravated the knee.
Okay.
Um, got off to the sideline, was able to kind of walk it out. I do think it was bugging him
Towards
the
the end.
rest of the game. Um, but it wasn't like a serious.
Okay. Because I was like,
But yeah,
that one was confusing me because I was watching it and I was like, I don't know what's happening. I
yeah,
missed something. So that's fine. And then the Jets defense is still playing well. I do think they're still a little overrated. Especially Sauce Gardner because he's having his worst season of his career, which to be fair, low bar has had a pretty solid career in terms of like what he's done. I think we're finally starting to see that he holds on every single fucking play, and they're finally calling it. Because straight up, at one point,
yeah,
it was flag on the play. Number one, defense, pass interference, holding, all this shit.
yeah.
And I was like, and if you watch him, he does this a lot. He might not get flagged for it a lot,
But
but
he
he
does it a
does it a
lot.
lot. I think this was one of the first games he really got the flags thrown because he was going up against Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
And in a league of superstars, Jefferson outranks you. That's part of my issue as well. But that's a whole we'll get to that. That's just the thing I don't want to really get into because that's more bullshit. With the refs. So yeah, the defense I thought played okay. Sauce holding every play of the game definitely was vindicating for me. I think I texted Dallas a little
Yeah.
GIF. If
Yeah.
anyone's watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine, the vindication. I thought it was funny. But yeah, I feel vindicated for my takes on the Jets team
Absolutely.
because yeah,
Absolutely.
not good. I was right in saying Rodgers is not the savior. I was right in that defense is overrated. I was right on a lot of things with the Jets. I'm gonna be honest. I was right on a lot of things. I was
Yeah.
not right, however, on who would be fired first as a head coach.
We got that one wrong.
Because we both said it would probably be Doug Peterson. It was not. So obviously, Robert Saleh fired today. We broke the news. Um, I had a little time to think. They also had the um owner has released a statement. It's a statement of you firing
So
somebody.
pretty much generic.
It's a thank you for
We
your
appreciate him.
yeah, thank you
Good
for
luck.
your
Get
time
the fuck out.
here.
Yeah.
This was a business decision. This was not an easy decision. This was for the bettership of the
I mean,
team. The new interim head coach, we're really excited for him. He has,
don't know why.
but yeah, it's you know,
At least they didn't name Hackett. I would laugh. I'm gonna be so honest with you. I would laugh my fucking ass off.
I thought they were honestly.
It's like,
When you were like, who are they gonna do for head coach? I was like, I
oh
feel
my
like it's
god,
gonna be an
that's a train wreck.
in-house. I was right. It would be an in-house, but it was not the in-house I thought it would be. But
That's a train wreck.
so it was not this game, the Minnesota Vikings versus the Jets, that got Saleh fired. I don't think. All right.
Okay.
It does not help. But this game in particular did not get him fired.
Talk
He's
to
been
me.
with the team for 3.5 years. Has a 20 and like 32 record. I can find the actual number here in a second. Has not had a great record of 20 and 36 record with the team. So losing record, not
Yeah.
great. Has had 7 starting quarterbacks in his tenure.
Yeah.
6, my bad. 6. I was one off. He's had
Yeah.
Zach Wilson, Mike White, Joe Flacco, Trevor Siemian, Tim Boyle, and now Aaron Rodgers. Okay.
Sam Darnold was before him?
Yes.
Huh. Okay.
Or he
Yeah,
didn't
I guess so.
start.
Yeah. Yeah. Sam Darnold's been in the league longer than.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It was just when he was traded from the Jets that
Yeah.
I think he was traded the year Saleh took over.
That's what's I thought Darnold, but they didn't actually overlap. Okay.
No. So you have that. Okay. You finally have your QB gets hurt week 1. You suck last year. That's fine. You had Zach Wilson as your quarterback for most of the year. I think the issue you're seeing is you failed to develop Zach Wilson. You failed to be able to pick a quarterback. The one you finally get, Aaron Rodgers, is looking like shit, is old, and has clearly won the locker room over you. Because the team goes on the highs with Rodgers and the lows with Rodgers. And you saw it this year,
Yeah.
especially. When Rodgers wants nothing, the team wants nothing. They have a serious motivation problem and a serious energy problem. And it's clear. And in my opinion, I'll say this, I think that starts with the head coach. That doesn't start with anybody else. Because one, as a head coach, you should be able to get your team energized and motivated. And if another player is able to have an effect on your team, high, low, more than you do, that's an issue. Now, I understand you're more likely to go out there for the guy next to you, but at the same time, as a coach, you have to be able to consistently make sure that they're going out there
Yeah.
and not being on the lows of some other dude. You will constantly have to get everybody up. And I think that's the issue I have with Saleh currently, and I think that's why he was fired. I also think Rodgers is a petty little bitch, and that's the other reason he was fired.
So I want to be clear with my reaction because, like you, I've had time to process. I do not think this was necessarily the wrong decision.
No.
I do not think. Here's the problem. Here's my genuine problem with the situation. We talk about the lack of quarterback success in New York for the Jets.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing Sam Darnold flourish. We're seeing Geno Smith flourish. Joe Flacco is like, I don't fucking care. I can still play football.
Yeah.
So we blame guys for what they do with a terrible team, and we hold that against their career.
Yeah.
The problem is, I am not convinced the same cannot be said for the head coach.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that Robert Saleh is a brilliant head coach, but I don't know that he's terrible either. I think he's clearly a decent, if not good, defensive coordinator. I don't really know who he is as a head coach because this ownership has such a stranglehold on this team that we never set up for success in any possibility. You picked up a 40-year-old quarterback 2 years ago and didn't have a plan for if he got hurt.
Or you also don't have a plan for if he retires.
Yeah, what happens if you win the Super Bowl this year, which you're not going to? If you win the Super Bowl this year and then he retires, you have the 32nd pick in the fucking draft and no quarterback.
I'm gonna be
There's
honest.
no plan. There's zero plan.
Here's my other issue: is this is not a great quarterback year. We're not going to talk college football until I think next week because we'll be at the midway point and there's a lot to talk about. I have a lot I want to talk about.
And this
But I'm
week
gonna
got
wait
off
till
the rails.
I'm gonna talk about midweek, or it works out. Next week is mid-season for college football, so it's like a mid-season review. But
there's no plan. Okay, when Sean McVay took over the Rams, he had Jared Goff. They got to the Super Bowl. They didn't win. He went, you know what? I would rather have Stafford. The plan was sink everything into winning the Super Bowl right now, and then we have to rebuild, but we get to keep our quarterback. There was a plan.
Yeah.
That's what they did.
The plan was we have Aaron Donald and Matthew Stafford.
Tom Brady came to the Bucs, and the Bucs went, okay, we're going to win a Super Bowl. We're going to give Tom Brady Gronk, Antonio Brown, and something else. I don't remember. Sorry. And then we have Kyle Trask to potentially take over a quarterback. We may go out and sign a veteran. We're going to lose Tom Brady. We're going to lose our head coach. We'll sign Todd Bowles, and we have a plan to keep us moving forward. At no point in the last decade have the Jets had any semblance of a plan. Now they're talking about going out and getting Devontae Adams. Do you think that's... You keep throwing... I'm sorry to the fans out there. Aaron Rodgers is not Tom Brady. Aaron Rodgers is not Matt Stafford. And Robert Saleh, no matter what he is or what we do or don't know, is not Sean McVay.
No.
So you have no plan. You let a 40-year-old bottom tier...
Currently. Yeah.
Not even currently. When you talk about his generation of quarterbacks...
Oh. He's up there still, but...
He's up there, but he was never Brady. He was never Manning.
He was never
Like,
Roethlisberger.
he
I
was
would take
never
Roethlisberger
that
over him.
guy.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he had 4 MVPs, but he had 1 Super Bowl win. Like, he was never the elite of his class, of his time. It's good. I'd even say it was marginally great, but he was never one of the elite during his time. And now at 40 years old, walking into a disaster of an organization that can't get a coach right, that doesn't know how to develop a quarterback, that can't put together a fucking roster, which is why Hassan Reddick is still sitting at home.
Yeah.
And then we go, well, clearly all of these problems are Saleh's fault. Excuse me? I'm not saying you didn't need a change. But what is the plan? You're telling me that you now expect to make a push for the Super Bowl by firing your head coach with Nathaniel fucking Hackett as your offensive coordinator and Devontae Adams, hopefully, maybe, is going to fix it? I don't think so. I don't think so. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. This is probably the best fucking thing that happened to Saleh. Like, I am sorry, but this is a disaster of an organization with an impulsive owner that doesn't know what they're doing and has no plan. None.
There.
Why is Josh Allen getting credit when Lamar Jackson has never? He needs an elite wide receiver. He can't do. Isn't he a superstar fucking quarterback? What do you mean he can't do it? Why not? All of you people have him second or third in your rankings. Why can't he? He has Kincaid. He's a talented tight end. Who's that sound like? Who's that sound like? That's the fucking Baltimore Ravens for the last 7 years. A shit wide receiver room and a fucking talented tight end. But Lamar gets the blame every time it doesn't go well. Now, well, it's not Josh Allen. Can't be Josh Allen's fault. He's an elite quarterback, you guys. He just needs a superstar wide receiver. Excuse me?
Yeah. Mahomes is getting it done with that one, too.
Mahomes made it to a Super Bowl.
Without.
And won without a superstar wide receiver. With Travis Kelce having the worst year of his career.
I was like, Mahomes did it with Travis Kelce and Juju Smith-Schuster was, I think, the best receiver that year.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
But Josh Allen, well, he needs a superstar wide receiver or he can't win. Did y'all just hear yourselves? But he's an elite quarterback, you guys. He's elite. By what metric? By what standard is he elite? You tell me. It's not his fault. Whose fault is it? Well, they traded Diggs. Okay. Well, Sean McDermott makes weird play calls or weird decisions. That is true. That I give credit for. That was weird as fuck.
That was a...
I don't think that was McDermott, though. Someone needs to talk to that offensive coordinator. They're doing some weird shit.
But at the end of the day, McDermott kind of had to also sign off on this idea.
Yeah. Like, someone did something. But for the love of God, we need to be accurate when we are talking about quarterbacks. Jets should not be held against people. Shitty organizations should not be held against each other, against people. And for the love of God, if we're going to criticize a quarterback, we need to do it equally. Lamar Jackson has won 2 MVPs, been the number 1 seed in the AFC division twice, and has never had an elite wide receiver room. But Josh Allen. Josh Allen's great. Why? Someone needs to tell me. I like the guy. I do. And I'm not saying he's not talented. But someone needs to tell me what makes Josh Allen elite.
I got nothing for you here. You
Thank
went
you.
on too long of a rant that I stopped caring. And I knew it was
Like,
coming. I just wasn't sure when.
but like, I just feel like we're not again, for the love of God, everyone's talking about how great Aaron Rodgers is supposed to be. For the first time in his career, Dak Prescott led a team to a final minute game winning drive. That is fantastic for him. I'm very happy for him. I did kind of feel like I had my vindication moment watching the Steelers play, just by the way. Aaron Rodgers can't do it anymore. He's not the guy. I'm sorry that you have no plan. I'm sorry that you're stupid. But he's not it. He threw 3 interceptions, which, by the way, he threw 2 in the first half. He said it at the podium. He's never done that before in his career. Aaron Rodgers' claim to fame was his ability to throw while rolling out
And not throwing
and
shit.
never throwing interceptions. He threw 3 last week.
Yeah.
Against the defense, I kept hearing, well, they're not going to be able to fool a 40-year-old quarterback. Yeah, you can fool all these young guys, but you're not going to be able to fool him. There's nothing he hasn't seen. Apparently hasn't seen Van Ginkel before. Apparently that just blew our fucking mind.
Got that white dude on defense.
Yeah. Like, what's happening?
Oh man. The quarterback
And then we
situation this year
blame
is definitely...
Salah for it.
God. It's...
So I'm just confused.
I'm confused
by the overall play this year. They continually are like, well, Darnold's not going to be that good. He's going to make mistakes. Quarterbacks throw interceptions. They have turnovers. We let it go when Josh Allen has more turnovers than anybody. Lamar Jackson fumbles the ball, and it's like, well, he needs better ball security. Bitch, he does it like once a month. Calm down. He's the most dynamic running quarterback there's ever been.
You can't say once a month when he's been fumbling it this year.
On average throughout his career, that's what he does. It's about once a month.
This year, I don't know what's going on, but I feel like he's fumbled it a couple times.
I think it's 3.
That's not great.
Actually, I think it's 2 true fumbles because I think 2 of them are like fumbled snaps. But
that still counts. Fumbling a snap.
No, I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm just saying
But you're not wrong. I'm just saying this year I feel like he's had a problem.
It's Why is it different? Why are Josh Allen's 4,000 interceptions?
It's not quite that many. Chill.
No big deal. But Lamar's 1,000 fumbles, because I went high, I'm going to go high.
Okay, hold on. What would you rather have? Because I have an answer to, and I do believe this 100%. What would you rather have, a fumble or an interception?
It's the same thing.
It's not.
I don't have a preference. I think it's the same thing. You turned it over.
I think
because of your miscalculation, you fucked it up and gave the defense the ball.
I think there's a difference.
Both are you going out of your way to make a play.
I think I would rather you throw an interception. And I have one specific reason for that. Most of Josh Allen's interceptions happen down the field. At that point, I'm not saying it is, but at that point, it acts as a punt if you tackle him that far down the field. Now, you're still giving the ball away, but...
I disagree, I suppose, with that sentiment of potentially one puts the game more at risk than the other. But at the end of the day, in terms of quarterback play, you made a miscalculated, poorly timed decision.
Yes.
That's what happened. And you lost the ball. How that amounts, whatever.
But I think you have to take into account what that does to the game. Because, okay, it didn't happen, but if Lamar Jackson had that fumble in overtime and they end up losing...
Oh, absolutely. He'd have gotten killed for it.
And rightly so. You can't make that mistake in that moment.
I'm not disagreeing with the statement. What I'm disagreeing with is the fact that we don't think that when Josh Allen single-handedly loses his team games
I'm not
because
saying
he
this
threw
isn't
6
true.
interceptions.
I'm not saying none of
is
this
not the same thing.
isn't true. I was just throwing this out there as
Like when you take the good of the Superman Josh Allen and you go, hey, with that comes turnover, you have to be willing to do the same with Lamar Jackson. Of the dynamic ability he brings to a game does occasionally come with lack of ball security. It's a bummer, but when you carry the ball that many times, when you get the ball that many times, statistically, that's what happens. It happens. I'm not saying that he shouldn't be criticized for it,
I think he
but
should
then
be.
let's be accurate.
No, yeah.
Let's be accurately comparative.
This year
We
we're finally.
we
I will
we're
say
killing. We
this year we're
kill
finally.
Dak all the time. Dak finally did something phenomenal that fucking Rodgers couldn't do this year, and we're like, well, let's fire Solo.
I mean, I still think they should fire Saleh, but that I thought they would wait until the end of the season.
Yeah, or at least wait until your bye. At least wait until your bye.
I thought it would wait till again. I don't think Saleh is a good head coach, but I thought this would wait. And yeah,
You can't expect to do anything productive now. You can't. This doesn't
go well. It's just
This never fixes teams the way it thinks it will. I understand, okay, an Urban Meyer situation that was toxic, you had to end it.
fine.
Josh McDaniels, you had to end it. Fine, I get it. You had to get it out of there. But this is a team that keeps telling the world we have Super Bowl aspirations. I don't think you do. And just so we're clear, in their division right now.
They did. I will say at the beginning of the season, I would say they did.
In your division right now, you have Josh Allen, who doesn't have a superstar wide receiver, and apparently that's a big fucking deal. You have the Patriots.
Dog shit.
You have the Dolphins that are Australian breakdancers without their quarterback. And now y'all, with a 40-year-old quarterback, no head coach, and a team in shambles.
Who
the fuck's going to win this division?
The Bills.
Like, this is crazy.
Here's the thing with the Bills.
It is right for the taking if you were halfway competent organization.
Yeah. Honestly, even if Saleh was still their head coach and they were halfway competent, I would still take the Bills to win that division.
I don't know. Because the way they're playing, that's bad. That's bad.
The reason I'd still take the Bills is you still have Superman Josh Allen that will win you games. Now, don't get me wrong. Right now, he's not Superman, but there is
right now
that.
He needs a fucking MRI or a CT. Someone needs to look at that boy.
Yeah. But there is that, like, when push comes to shove and he does become Superman and he starts playing that way.
Well, I keep hearing he can't do it without a superstar wide receiver.
Well, he might not be able to. I don't know, man. I'm
From an analyst, by the way, on TV that played with him.
Okay.
Shady
never played with him.
Yes, he did. He was on the Bills for
Did they cross over?
Yep.
He was in the league.
Yep.
Okay. I didn't.
He was on Tampa Bay's Super Bowl winning team.
I didn't think
he was
Shady
also
crossed
on
over.
Yep.
Okay, sure. Didn't realize that.
Said on television yesterday, he needs a superstar wide receiver.
Well, it would be
what
nice.
No one has ever said about Lamar Jackson? Yeah, he has Derrick Henry now. I get it. It's great. Cool. He finally has a superstar, who, by the way, is a 30-year-old fucking running back that nobody believed in this year except for the Ravens. Everybody was like, man, he's too old. That ain't going to work. So just so we're clear, when we're talking about superstars on the Ravens.
It's still too early. Like, I don't believe in doing this midseason. I never have. Midseason.
We have to do it. Like, we have to do it as the season happens. If things change, okay, but
Because that's my thing. Or we're not even at midseason yet either. So I understand talking about it, but you've only had 2 games where I would say Josh Allen's really played badly. Because the first 3,
does
I thought he
kicking the
was,
crap out of Jacksonville though count?
yeah, you still played, like, I understand you kicked the crap out of Jackson, but you still played well. Okay, like, bad teams play well. Like, you see it a lot. Good teams playing down to their opponents. I don't really care if you don't, like,
Yeah,
yeah, you still played how you were supposed to. That's important to me. As a team that just
that's fair.
lost to a fucking Giants, I would like my team to just play how they're fucking supposed to. Dallas.
That's fair. That's fair. Look, I'm not saying things can't change, and I'm not giving an end all be all opinion. But we are doing a sports podcast. I am going to give opinions as they come up throughout the season because it is a week to week league. I can't sit here and go, okay, week 10, this is every thought I've had.
It's a week to week league, but there are things. Okay, because you also have, like, last year, no one believed in the Chiefs were going to win the Super Bowl again, but it's the fucking Chiefs. That's my thing. Is you have the, like, week to week league, but there are things in the league, like quarterbacks, where there will be, especially certain ones, where they'll kind of ebb and flow, but it doesn't
I
matter
I
until.
agree with the opinion, which is why I think I'm one of people like talking about the sports shows. I think the Bengals are still in it, even at 1 and
That's
4. Like you can't put up 38 points consistently and keep losing. Like you can't do it. You should have won Sunday.
that's
You should
my
have.
that's my point of, like, I don't think you can sit there and go, well, the Bills aren't going to do anything because Josh Allen's had 2.
I'm not saying they're not going to do anything. I just think the narrative right now it's interesting. I find it I'm confused by it. I'm surprised by it. I'm not talking about who they're going to be or what that's going to mean. What I'm talking about is the narrative right now. And the
Okay,
narrative right now is he needs a superstar wide receiver, and that confuses me when he is supposed to be Superman Josh Allen. And the whole point of getting rid of Diggs was to clean up their cap, get younger, and fix whatever negative energy was happening in the locker.
I will say also, in Josh Allen's defense, his number 1 receiver was hurt in that game.
And that's fair.
Like, he did not have Shakir, and that's been his number 1. And beyond him, they really don't have anybody.
Like
Now, I'm
I,
not saying,
I'm not saying it's not a weak room. It's
because my
it's
opinion would
weak
be,
as fuck.
if Lamar's Zay Flowers were to go down, I think you would see Lamar struggle a little bit.
I don't know. I don't know.
That's a hard one though, because he doesn't like
He's
he doesn't
never
like
had.
anybody.
He. I mean, even Andrews. It.
That's my point.
This
He
was
doesn't even
his
like him.
like. Well, he kept dropping the goddamn ball. Like he kept trying, and Mark was like, "I'm supposed to catch that."
But
He finally figured it out in the fourth quarter. I'm not even trying to like just the comparison to Lamar. It's how we view these guys
I don't know.
that I'm like,
I think
I'm confused where this opinion's coming from.
honestly, I think part of the reason is we're finally starting to see Trevor Lawrence for what he is, and he's now taking over the mantle of the, like, constant
Yeah.
turnover, and Josh Allen kind of got to, like,
Do you think
hide
this
again.
is who Lawrence is, or is
Yes.
it a coaching
No.
problem? Okay,
Based on 2 head coaches, your entire tenure in the NFL, you've had this problem.
that's fair. That's fair.
Like, I don't think that's just gonna disappear.
That's how
Like,
I
don't get me
felt
wrong, Urban Meyer didn't do no
watching.
favor, but
That's how I felt watching the Steelers this weekend.
I didn't watch that game.
He offensively, they are a disaster.
Yeah, everyone knows that.
And I'm like, everyone keeps thinking Justin Fields is revitalizing his career. He's not the answer, you guys. I'm sorry, he's not. We have 3 years of experience.
I mean,
We
he's better
know
than
who
Kenny
he is.
Pickett.
I mean, Kenny Pickett can hand the ball off too and get 92 yards of offense. Kenny Pickett can do that too.
I still think you're way too harsh on Justin Fields. Because he's...
This is what I'm seeing. This is what happened. That's what happened. They had 92 yards of offense.
No, I'm not saying that's not true, but like, you need to, like, because they're what, 4-3-2 now?
He was game managing.
Yeah.
At a minimal level.
Kenny Pickett couldn't game manage for that team.
I'm not saying he's like better than Kenny Pickett. I'm just saying he's not a starting quarterback in the NFL.
You said Kenny Pickett could also hand the ball off. You just said
that's true. That is true. He can. He can.
So
statistically, right now, Aaron Rodgers is the same as Zach Wilson was last year. Aaron Rodgers is better than Zach Wilson. See?
I mean...
But, like, right now, what they're doing, Kenny Pickett could have done.
I don't think he can. I'm going to be honest. I'm very much not Kenny Pickett. I thought he was not very good. I didn't think he was good coming out of college.
I'm very out on Justin Fields.
I think Justin Fields, I don't think he's good.
I think you could be a backup.
But I think he's fine for that team.
Clearly he's not. They need you to go down and score points to win games.
One game they lost. My bad. Sorry, guys.
They lost 2. They're 3-2. And because they lost to the Cowboys, the Ravens are now the leader in the AFC North.
Okay, to be fair. All right, hold on. They lost 1 game. So they've lost 2 games. One of them, Justin Fields, was the first Steelers quarterback in, like, since Roethlisberger to throw for over 300 yards and have, I think it was 2 touchdowns thrown, plus a rushing touchdown, in a game they lost, mind you. Their defense failed them in that game. This game, yeah, Justin Fields failed them. I'll give you that.
I'm out. I'm so far out. It's not.
I just don't think you can be out yet.
Why not? I have 3 years and 5 weeks of evidence.
But the 5 weeks with a new team where he's actually been playing better than he ever has in his career.
And that's the sad part.
How you can still be out when they're 3-2 and he's looked good looked good enough. They've 3-2 and one game they lost. The defense fucked them.
The standard for quarterback play in Pittsburgh is atrocious. I don't think it's good enough. It's not good enough. Maybe I'm hypercritical on quarterbacks because mine gets shit on, but that's what I'm thinking.
I think you very much are. I'm going to be honest with you. No, because here's the thing, Dallas. It's never good enough. And I'm not saying this as like it's a you, but like straight up, you've done this a lot. Is you'll look at a quarterback and they'll have. You did this last week with Geno Smith and the Detroit Lions. Had the last drive, where he threw the interception, and you're like, did he actually play that? Like at the end, you were like, that last drive kind of made it bad. I don't remember.
Yeah, the last drive was bad.
But you were like,
I didn't say he played bad. I just thought there were some weird decisions. No, I said last week, I'm going to go back and pull it up. I said, I thought he played really well, but on their final 2 drives, it just felt like he was overly forcing it.
Okay. But there are other times where you're like, this quarterback's had like a good game, and you're like, it wasn't great. It wasn't. It just wasn't it. And I'm like, I understand. You have to watch Lamar Jackson every week. That does give you a slight... I don't even know what the word I'm looking for is.
Critical of Lamar when he does badly. He shouldn't have fucked up that snap. Fucking took his eyes off the center. It happened. Like, you shouldn't fucking do that shit. Pay attention. You're snapping for the ball. Wait for the ball.
But I'm like, the media's... So I think you really are just hypercritical of, like, all quarterbacks. And I'll sit here, and it'll happen, and I'm like, all right, fine, whatever. I'll live with it.
No, respond. That's the point. We're supposed to be a dialogue, not just I talk, you talk. It's a dialogue.
Because there are times where like you say something about a quarterback, and I'm like, that's a take.
If you disagree with me, tell me. You disagree with me on Justin Fields.
I disagree with you on Justin Fields. You didn't do it today. because I agree with you mostly on CJ Stroud. Josh Allen looked like shit this week, but I also think you're being a little hypercritical of Josh Allen this year. But I also understand the whole.
If I'm proven wrong, if he can turn around, if he can have a Superman game, if he can be Josh Allen, maybe I did hear this take, which I found interesting. His turnovers are so far down this league or this
That's
year.
my.
He's not taking the chances that he used to take. Now, I don't know if it's fear of turnovers. I don't know if it's kind of you don't have a guy that you're comfortable throwing. Diggs was the guy that would go up and get it.
Most of his
And you
turnovers
don't have
weren't
that now,
throwing it to Diggs though,
but like he's not taking those chances.
because Diggs doesn't run downfield routes. Diggs tends to
But
stay.
even like the ones to him or those short, that's how they end up. He's not taking those chances.
Yeah.
So I can't help but wonder if that's not a factor as well. What I've
Mm,
taken extreme note of, though, is that everyone wants to throw out Josh Allen's rookie year, which is fair. We do that for quarterbacks a lot. But it wasn't good. And then he got Diggs, and we accepted the bad with the good because the good was great. Now, there's neither good nor bad. He's not playing well, but he's not throwing the turnovers, I guess, so that's good. But he's not taking those chances either. And all I keep hearing is he doesn't have a superstar wide receiver. If Josh Allen is a superstar, he has to play like one. He's got to put this team on his back. If he can do that,
I
I'll
think
shut the fuck up.
I think he will. That's my point. Of I think
Okay, well, when he does, then we'll talk about it. But we're going to talk about it when he's not.
fair.
We have a week-to-week conversation. We don't have a podcast that comes out once every 5 months.
But there's things to talk week to week about, and there's things to I think leave for a little
Bitch,
bit.
some people talk about every day.
That's insane. Because okay, for me, a quarterback in the NFL, I don't judge game to game. In a way, okay, hold on, because I think it's important on how their season goes as a whole. I think you judge a quarterback more on a season than you do on one game. So in the moment, yeah, you judge them. But I think you also have to be able to be like, okay, that's one game in a 17-game season. Of Mahomes can have a shit game next week, and no one will care because he'll go on and win the Super Bowl. I think
I
that was.
completely agree with that. I completely agree with that.
So I understand talking
Which
about
is
it for that
why I
one
think my
week.
opinion stands the way it does. This is 2 weeks of Josh Allen not being able to throw the ball well.
Oh yeah, I was like, I thought nope, it was Ravens. Then this one, yeah, no, that's fair.
And then you kick the crap out of
I'm gonna be honest. I thought it went.
teams that are terrible defensively.
I'm gonna be
I'm
honest.
not just talking about one game, it was shit. I did
I
not get on here after the Ravens game and talk about this. I'm doing it now after a second week against a team with
That's
not the best defense.
for me. Part of it was I thought his two bad games were not back to back. I don't know why. I thought it went Ravens, good game, bad game. The two bad games were back to back. There is a reason to talk about that. Because, yeah, two bad games back to back, there is a discussion to be had.
Justin Fields, 2 bad games back to back.
Not true.
Both of their losses have come back to back.
Both of their losses have come back to back, but he played well against the Colts. Their defense didn't play well against the Colts. Like I said earlier, 300 plus yards, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. That is a good quarterback game.
It wasn't good enough.
Because his defense couldn't stop the ball. Look at the score. You're
No,
telling
and
me
that's fair. That's fair. That's fair. You're right.
like you're telling me that
But that's okay. So I think that, to my
There we go.
credit, is the point with Justin Fields. We talk about these elite quarterbacks or these great quarterbacks or even good quarterbacks. You have to overcome moments like that.
I never
You
said
couldn't
he was
overcome
elite.
Joe Flacco?
I never said
That's
he was elite.
that's all I'm saying is I don't think he's the answer. I don't think he's an answer. Because you're right. 300 yards and 2, but fucking Joe Burrow just had 392 and 5
And I would argue,
passing touchdowns and wasn't good enough, but it was great quarterback play,
okay,
but it wasn't good enough.
but is that the quarterback or is that the
On
defense?
this one, no, it's on the defense. And I would say that statistically about the Bengals this year. In terms of the Steelers, when you have an elite defense like they do,
But your
and your
elite
quarterback
defense gives up.
can't when your quarterback can't overcome deficits, you have a problem.
I would make the argument that the quarterback did, because at one point they were tied, and then the defense allowed them to score again. Like, that's my argument. Is I truly think Fields got them back, and their defense could not stop them.
Okay. We will have to see on that one. But yeah, these conversations are going to come up. They're not going to wait till week 10.
I didn't say, again, the reason I was saying you can't have this conversation about Josh Allen now is, again, I thought it went Ravens good, bad.
Nope.
No, it went bad, bad.
Bad,
That's my
terrible.
point.
9 for 30 is terrible.
9 for 30 is terrible.
That's
I
not.
I didn't think he played that bad, honestly, watching
Oh
the
yeah,
game.
that's the stat line.
Okay.
It's 9 for 30.
Watching it didn't look that bad, I will say. Because
So,
I did not look
all
at the
right,
stat for that game.
let's quickly move on before you have an aneurysm. We're gonna skip WNBA talk. Next week we will know who's gonna be in the finals. So,
The finals were already happening.
nope.
Okay. Shows you how much I know.
The Suns and the Minnesota Lynx play Game 5 in the semifinals.
That's
today.
why I forget that the WNBA goes from 3 to 5.
To 5, which I forgot too last week when we did this. So I misspoke there. So I apologize to our viewers. All right, next week, Brendan, go.
Oh, Seattle Thursday Night Football plays the 49ers at home. I'm not looking forward to this. This is gonna be a shit show. Based on how Seattle's playing, they're going to get crushed. I'm very thankful I will be in the car driving somewhere and won't have to sit through this game. So yeah. I'm not looking forward to this like at all. I think they're gonna
San
get
Francisco's not playing great.
Yeah. But neither is Seattle. And Seattle's struggling very much against the pass, the run, and not running the football. All three things is what so one, the 49ers right now have a good passing game. Ayuk finally did something this week.
Yeah.
I will say their run game's been worse with Mason, but it can still be good. And then the Seahawks not being able to run the ball, that's like the 49ers' only weakness on defense.
Yeah.
Is they cannot stop the run right now because they have a really thin defensive line. Also, I have Nick Bosa going against the worst offensive tackle in the league right now. Statistically, the worst one.
That's fair. That's fair.
It's not gonna go well. It's not gonna go well. Not excited. What I'm looking for in this game, I would say a bounce back. I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't think it's gonna be a miracle. I would like the defense to play better. I would like it to look better. I would like them to run the ball. Those are really the two. I would like.
Yeah.
Okay. I would like tackling to improve, and I would like to run the ball. That's it. You could lose.
But if you see improvement.
I'm going to be honest. Okay. I would rather the Seahawks lose and ran the ball 50 times than them win and throw the ball 50 times.
That's fair. That's fair.
That might not be true, but I would like them
But
to
you'll
win.
see the attempt.
But yeah, I'm not looking forward to this like at all.
Okay. Well, what game are you looking forward to? Who's your game of the week?
I'm really not even looking forward to a game of the week. To be honest with you, none of them look good. None of them.
That's fair. I struggled. I switched picks.
I'm going with the Chargers against the Broncos. To be honest with you, I think that game's gonna be boring, but I can't pick another one. The
Boring or
game
really interesting?
it's either okay. It's gonna go one two ways. It's either going to be pure defense and nothing's going to happen,
Mm-hmm.
or we're finally going to see the Broncos take a step forward on offense, and we're finally going to see the Chargers
I feel like they
offense.
took a step forward last week.
I still don't think we're quite to where I think the Broncos offense
No.
can be. But my point is we're either going to be defensive slugging or offense is finally going to happen, and it's going to be a good game.
So best thing, really quickly. Last week, don't remember what day, Drew Brees was on The Herd. And he asked him, he's like, hey, talk to me about Sean Payton. You know, he yells, like, how do you as a quarterback work with that? And Drew Brees says, he's like, yeah, he's a barker. He yells, he gets in your face. But Drew Brees or Sean Payton kind of loves it from his quarterback when he gets back in his face. Like, match the energy, do it. And then this last week, we saw Bo Nix yelling at Sean Payton on the sideline. And I'm like, I don't know if you heard Drew Brees' advice, but good job, boy. Like, I thought it was like Drew Brees got on national television and said, hey, scream at him. It's okay. And then Bo Nix did it. And I was like, that's brilliant.
And then I did forget to mention the Broncos game is at 1:05 Pacific,
Oh,
4 o'clock Eastern. What you got going on with the Ravens?
Baltimore is back at home versus Washington.
This was a game I would like to be my game of the week if it wasn't for the fact
I'm
that
excited. I'm a little nervous.
The
So
defense is gonna. This is gonna be a slugfest.
Because they throw the ball so well. We're gonna see how the pass defense does.
I think this is gonna be a shootout offensively.
I do think it's interesting because Lamar has been Jaden Daniels' comp. Everyone's like, oh, that's who he could be, or that's the closest comparison.
Yeah.
So to see them go head to head is going to be really interesting. Lamar tends to destroy. He does dominate the NFC, but it's typically because they're not used to a quarterback like him. Jaden's more mobile, so it's going to be interesting to see how this stacks up, how it matches up. I am looking to see. The only thing I'm looking for is an improvement in the pass defense. If I can have that, I will be fucking happy. Don't lose, but I'll be happy.
I don't think you are.
You need to calm down.
I don't think the pass defense is going to get better against Washington, to be honest with you.
We'll see. We'll see. And then, well, you can't know that yet. Too early.
I can make an educated prediction.
I can make an educated prediction that Josh Allen needs a fucking superstar wide receiver or he sucks. So, I win. My game of the week is going to be, now especially, Bills-Jets. The Bills have not looked great. Josh Allen has not looked great these last couple weeks. I have real questions. And then the Jets just fired their head coach. Like, what's the plan? So, I had a different game in mind. I am going to pivot, and we're going to go Bills-Jets. Monday Night Football. See how both these teams do.
Yeah.
How both quarterbacks do. I care less about the defenses for both of these guys, honestly, unless one defense really tears the other one up. I really think this game is about quarterback play. And that's the only thing that matters. And it's a division game for them. So, for teams trying to make the playoffs, this has implications.
And then, just before we leave, the Seahawks have placed Enchena and Wosu on IR.
Oh, damn.
So he's out for at least 4 games. So, good things are happening in Seattle, guys. Not really, like, at all. I think that does it for us here today. Remember, like, subscribe, comment, let us know what you want to see. I think that being said, I've been Brendan.
And I've been Dallas.
And this has been Flocksense Podcast. Thanks for joining, y'all. We'll see you next week.
Thank you. Bye.